This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Champagne breaking out, all that. Why you got such a fuzzy camera?
Weird, right? It's weird, right?
Yeah, bro. You like women do that stuff.
I don't know what's going on.
Like they don't look so that they try to hide their defects or something. What is it? You don't polish your camera or something? Your lens?
I look like I look. I have no idea.
Jeez.
It's a very funky effect. Hold on. Let me try to move. See what happens. See, now it's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm in the media room here at.
We can tell. We know you're not home.
We can tell.
Well, wait a minute. There's your daughter crossing in the background there. No, you are home. Okay, all right.
You're funny. Never let anybody say you're not funny because you're funny. Okay, how's that?
Lord.
Jesus.
No, it's I don't know what's going on with your lens, bro. There's something going on there. But anyway, we got you either way. It's all good in the hood. So were they breaking out the champagne? We don't have to talk to Poupart again for several months. Is that how it went this afternoon?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. There's going to be a nasty cleanup job in the locker room because of all the confetti that they were throwing.
Nothing like when we walked into the locker room and we saw flutie flakes all over the floor, right? Remember after Jimmy Johnson, we were all walking around going, what the hell is this? And then we found out after that it was Jimmy Johnson tearing up flutie flakes for the team before to try to jack them up and all that kind of stuff.
It was a great game. No, it was a typical locker cleanout day. Guys in good spirits, said pretty much everything you hear every year at locker cleanout day. They're excited about what's in store for the future. Disappointed they couldn't go further, even though they sure as hell went further in the game yesterday than a lot of people thought they would.
Dude, it's screwed up, right? That you walk away from that game going, hey, by the way, the head coach screwed his own team's chances of trying to win that game. I mean, basically, the players were doing everything possible to win. And, the head coach and the coaching staff kind of, screwed up so many situations. That third down for the kid where he was throwing he had no shot to win, and he throws that interception. The fourth down obviously was a mess. The managing of the timeouts. I mean, just so much that was disastrous. It's scary that if they actually handle certain calls, they still might have won that game yesterday. Nuts.
Yeah, and you forgot to mention drop passes too, which were a major problem yesterday. And I mean, they didn't do Skylar Thompson any favors. Not that he played great, but he wasn't horrible, and they didn't do him any favors. And I've literally on Twitter just last week, I wrote about how much I hate the wide receiver screen on 3rd and 19. And my suggestion is to chuck it deep. Don't chuck it to the 33-yard line, which is what happened. Chuck it to the 50, to midfield. So if it's intercepted, it's like a punt. But that was a poor decision. That's the one he made. The other interception, he just didn't see the guy underneath as he was rolling to his left.
He's a youngin', bro.
Correct. But no, it's not just. I mean, it's literally four false starts. I don't remember how many delay of game penalties, and you burn your 3 timeouts with 4 minutes left in the second half. And I've made the argument. I said this on Twitter yesterday. Take the damn delay of game penalty, for Christ's sake, especially if it's first or second down. Take the damn delay of game penalty. Save those timeouts. In the end, had the Dolphins had a timeout when there was a confusion of is it 4th down? No, you didn't get the 1st down. Then they could have called a timeout and set up a good play.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. It's and again, he's a rookie coach, and not only is he a rookie coach, we also let's have a little conversation here. He's a rookie coach that also has taken the responsibilities of play calling, which is something that is enormous for an experienced coach to handle, being the head coach and the play caller at the same time. Defense or offense, I don't care who you are, what kind of coach you are. That's a lot on your plate. It's already a lot just to be a head coach, but you're also going to be the play caller, and that's where it gets kind of, hairy for him, and he's got to find a way to streamline from the play calling to the communication to the challenges, all of these things that he's had a lot of issues with. Now, again, the good thing is these are all correctable. This is not I feel good about the team because I don't feel like this is Cam Cameron or this is Joe Philbin or this is, that Brian Flores can't build one side of the staff or something. No, this is a guy that he's got a good mind for this. He's got a great attitude. Players respond to him. Bro, they played hard as hell every single game all the way to the end of the year. We can't, you can't overlook that. There's a lot of positives going into it, and the good thing is the stuff that's going on right now with him, it's all really correctable.
No question. Here's another factor too that doesn't get talked a lot, and that offense is predicated a lot on pre-snap movement. Well, which is great because it messes up the defense. It shows you what they're going to do, but it also takes more time. So he's got to factor that in when next season, maybe a good part of the offseason training camp is spent, getting things done quicker. It had been an issue from time to time during the regular season. And for some reason, it was like Murphy's Law yesterday when it came to the play calling and getting stuff done on time. Yeah,
it was frustrating. By the way, a couple players let's talk about. First of all, you just talked about it, the penalties. Rob Hunt, while he had a phenomenal season, the one thing he's got to work on, he picks up way too many penalties. And by the way, again, very correctable here, okay? And yesterday, again, it reared its ugly head, and it's one of those things that I think he's one of those guys that has to work on the little things.
No question. But he's a keeper on that offensive line, which sadly remains a work in progress, but he's one foundational piece that you kind of I'm not sure if I like him better. I think I might like him better at guard than I do at right tackle now, after seeing him like a game and a half. But no, he's an absolute keeper, and it could be that in 1 year for some reason it was off in terms of it, because most of his penalties are false starts. And
yeah, right. They're just mental force.
That's correctable. So I'm not overly concerned with that. So
another great player that I want to see retire and in the Ring of Honor, hopefully 12 years from now, 13 years from now, his name is Jalen Waddle. But Jalen Waddle has had a tendency all year of dropping balls. And he has by himself, he lost one game completely because there were 2 turnovers that were into points and completely changed the face of that game. Yep. But that's another thing yesterday. And he has also a tendency of jumping when he doesn't have to jump. And it's like makes it harder for him to make. I don't blame him, by the way, on the second drop. That was an underthrown ball that the defender got the arm in. It reminds me a lot of the Gesicki sideline play that Tua threw, but he threw it here where the defender got the arm out. If he throws it here where the defender can't get the arm in, Gesicki makes a catch and stays in bound, and maybe the whole thing changes in that drive there. But for me, it was underthrown because there were people who were kind of harsh on Waddle. I disagree on that one.
It was crazy.
It was underthrown.
I defended him too. I jumped all over him on the first one. But the second one, there's no excuse. I mean, literally, Tre'Davious White got his hand on the ball and dislodged it because the pass was underthrown. So that's ridiculous. The first
he leads him as long as he catches it, it's a touchdown.
Correct. But here's another factor on the first one that I don't think was brought up after the game. I'm wondering whether Waddle actually lost it into the sun a little bit, and that's why he jumped, because he kind of wasn't completely, laser focused on where the ball was. And because there was another play, I think it was a deep pass for the Bills where the wide receiver looked like he was fighting the sun from that same direction. So who knows? Maybe I'm not going to absolve him of all of it because, drop passes were an issue the whole season with him. I don't think it's not like we saw like fabulous hands from the guy as a rookie either. I mean, you got him on the team because the dude is fast. So I think we're gonna have to live with the fact that he's gonna drop some passes, on balls that he should catch, but he's also going to create a lot of big plays that other wide receivers who will catch more balls consistently aren't going to make because they don't have the speed. So
I agree. I agree. The report, we talked about it on Thursday, but obviously this weekend they talked about how Tua's going to return. And we kind of told everybody on Thursday to stop talking about Tom Brady and all that shit. He's going to return. But what is the plan you think that should be for? We talked about the Flacco stuff and all that other stuff and Minshew and all of that. Do you think they're going to go in that direction? Do you think they're going to keep Skyler? Did Skyler do enough? Because for me, I was kind of worried about Skyler. I was thinking maybe you start looking for another young guy to kind of build on. But he did show me a little something yesterday. I got to give him some love. He was off in some things and, obviously made some mistakes. Some of them were out of his control. But overall, I thought he at least showed me something in this game that I said, maybe you can keep him as a project for one more year. Do you expect them to aggressively try to acquire another player or draft another player?
Not if you're keeping Skyler. What's the point of having two developmental quarterbacks? You're not getting Josh Allen or Josh Burrow or Joe Burrow picking in the second round. So that idea is shot. So you would be drafting for what? A developmental player. That's Skyler. There's no reason to go that route. You're not drafting a quarterback in the second round to be the number 2 guy. So to me, the number 2 guy has to be a veteran. You keep Skyler around. They carried 3 quarterbacks the whole season. I don't think that ever became a major issue, especially with the practice squad elevations, where if you're short on one position, you just bring guys up. It's not a big deal. Carry 3 quarterbacks again next year. Get yourself a backup who obviously doesn't have the durability issues that we saw from Bridgewater this year, because starting a playoff game with a rookie 7th round pick is not ideal. And it worked for San Francisco, but San Francisco has a Super Bowl roster. So that's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah. God, that team is so complete. I mean, Purdy played mediocre and could have thrown a couple interceptions and everything. And yet all you got to do is just, facilitate. And that team is so good, man. They can just carry whatever quarterback is there. Just don't screw it up, kid. It's kind of like the Ben Roethlisberger first Super Bowl run. Remember, it was like, yo, kid, just get us the ball and we'll be fine. We're complete. We don't need you to carry us. Just do your job. We'll do the rest. That kind of stuff. That's kind of the way they've put Purdy in there, which has been just absolutely sensational. You're good with bringing back Tua, obviously. You're good with bringing back Mike McDaniel. Any changes you think they should make?
We talking about the entire roster? I guess that's
no. I'm
pretty
talking about like coaches. I'm talking about like the coaches and that kind of stuff. Obviously, it'll be a long conversation if we start getting into players and all that. But the main pieces: the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, the offensive whatever is McDaniel, but the defensive coordinator, the special teams coach, and all that stuff.
Correct. Well, they may have to address a quarterback's coach position because Darrell Bevel's name is all over the place. Apparently now he's a candidate for the Jets OC job, and he's made it clear. He told us like a few weeks back that he wants to become a head coach, and becoming an OC is a step higher than being a QB coach. So they may have to replace him. I'm not doing anything with Josh Boyer. I mean, the defense, I don't care if they give 34 points. They gave the Dolphins a chance to win yesterday. Point blank, period, end of story. So nothing there. I think Danny Crossman's in big trouble. I would imagine there'd be a new special teams coach on the way. Although in the last game, the Dolphins, hallelujah, got a long return. First time all year. Their longest punt return. Do you know what the longest punt return in the regular season was? 15 yards, 1-5. And then he pops one for 50 yesterday. So still
now if you follow the game, 15-yard punt return is actually like a really good return, by the way. Okay. All right. Well, I get what you're saying, but
not as a season high because I did the research every single team. Sorry.
I know, but that's actually well over an average of a punt return.
No. Correct. No, but their average was like, I think they were in the bottom third or fourth, or even way back there. So I think Crossman might be in trouble.
Did Jason Sanders save his job?
I would say.
Walk me through this. Is he under the kind of friendly contract that you don't need any bonuses right now for him, that it's down the line that you can actually bring in competition? Or is there a decision to be made on Jason Sanders right away because there's a roster bonus?
I don't believe, and I just checked it very recently. I don't think it's not egregious. I don't think you save anything off the cap if you get rid of them, and I think it costs like, I don't know, 2.2 of dead money or something. It's not significant.
Okay.
I don't think there's a need to like necessarily dump them, but I think they should bring in like a young guy, to challenge him. And if the young guy wows you in training camp or in the off season, then you make the switch. But I don't think you necessarily dismiss him because he didn't have a great year.
All right. Of the guys that could be gone or could be borderline, who goes and who stays?
Well, Gesicki's gone. Can't imagine Byron Jones is not gone. They have the two running backs I think are on 1-year contracts, Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert.
Both gone or one stay? Do they find a rookie to replace one of them?
I'd be very surprised if both were gone. I think they're going to bring back one of them. Could they bring back both? I don't know. Maybe.
Wilkins, Sealer.
Wilkins gets an extension. I mean, he's under contract for next year, but he's a keeper you want to have around for a while, and giving him a long-term deal, you can structure it to where you actually get some cap room with an extension. So I think that's
Sealer.
That's a no-brainer. Sealer, I just looked up this morning, and according to Over the Cap, he's still signed for another year. So
okay, great.
I'll have to double check that. So, but if he's not signed,
I thought he was a free agent this year. My bad.
I kind of did so too, but I went back and checked, and he's looking like he has 1 year left. Van Ginkel is a UFA. That may be one of those where he, of his own volition, say, you know what, the hell with this, because he's not getting a ton of playing time. I think he's better than his usage on defense.
I agree.
So some team might value him more, and I don't know about promising him, but telling him maybe you'll fit more into our plans at outside linebacker. And if you look at the Dolphins, he's got a look. He looks around, and you've got still Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb. The hell's the third one? Oh, and Emmanuel Ogbah, when he comes back, that's 3 edge rushers. And where does that leave Van Ginkel? Because I can't imagine Melvin Ingram will be back. I would think he'd be gone. Not that the Dolphins got anything out of him in the last month of the season.
No, he helped out early on. And early on, he helped out. But he also has limitations to his game. And that's where they've got to become more versatile at linebacker. They've got to have guys that can cover and rush the passer and just do everything, not where there's a major hole in your game that the other team knows, okay, these guys can't cover. Let's get them out in open space. And then it just becomes a real problem for your team.
Well, but the only thing they asked Ingram pretty much was go after the quarterback. And then, but it wound up biting him yesterday because he went after Josh Allen on the play where he handed off to James Cook and we're right around Melvin Ingram for an easy touchdown. I mean, easy touchdown.
I know, but it's kind of unfair, bro. You here, go catch Josh Allen. It's not that easy, dude.
Well, no, it's more your responsibility. Yeah, but the responsibility is you're responsible for the edge. So
I get it. I get it. It's just
you can't dive inside.
I know. I just kind of it's just like, man, playing to that guy is holy crap.
Except he was sloppy with the ball though yesterday.
Are we? Yeah. Well, by the way, that Buffalo offense will make mistakes. That's kind of been a thing throughout the year. They're so good that they can overcome those mistakes.
But here's the thing. Hear me out on this, and this is in response to those who were like saying, and I heard that about the Baltimore-Cincinnati game. Well, if Lamar Jackson had played, Baltimore would have beaten Cincinnati because it was a close game, and if Tua had played, well, the Dolphins would have beaten Buffalo because it would have been a close game. I'm not convinced. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Josh Allen doesn't throw the ball down the field pretty much on every passing play if the Bills fear the Dolphin offense more than they feared it yesterday with Skylar Thompson, a quarterback instead of Tua.
That's a good point.
And I think they call a different game.
It's a good point. It's definitely a good point. So that's a great segue to what I wanted to ask you, which is, this is how I started the post-game show yesterday. And I know that we, heard Dave Wanstead say we're close. Okay. I still have those words ringing in my ear. And I know that we've been hearing about it for a long, long time, but I actually think that they are close. I really believe that. all 3 Buffalo games could have been all wins for you, no matter who the hell was quarterback overall. That's how close those last 2 games, and we can make arguments that the coaches lost this game and that some of the players and the coach lost the last game, that all they had to do was hang on to the damn ball and make one right call or two on a running play, and maybe you end up, in the victory column, where normally you were getting your asses handed to you by the Bills year in and year out, and the gap was so big. So what I told fans is that the gap has been reduced drastically. So I believe if you can make some of the right moves and then get the damn breaks of staying healthy, you could actually challenge and even win that division next year. Do you believe the Dolphins are actually closer than they have been maybe in the last 20 years to being a respectable franchise again?
No, without question. But that's going to be the key. Can you sustain it? Because we were having the same conversation in 2008 and 2016. The difference here, for example, is you have a young quarterback on the rise, but one of the similarities is you have an awful lot of key players who have durability issues, and including a couple who are a little bit older. Teron Armstead, who I love dearly, I mean, played the whole year, and again, he's got a very lengthy injury history. Didn't look right the whole year, and in fact, today he was asked about it and basically just said, "Well, I was on the field, wasn't I?" Well, yeah, but you didn't look like X. If we're gonna be honest, and then 2 was
to his credit, he won't make excuses. But
correct.
Like I recorded the interception. I put it on Twitter. I go, watch him run it back. Just watch him run it back. It's a gingerly way of running it back. He's not going because he can't. He can't go all out and cut and all that. You can tell. I know. Besides Teron Armstead, today Teron Armstead had surgery on whatever and successful surgery and whatever. He'll be ready for training camp. We're going to get that headline. I would not be shocked if we hear a headline that X needs some kind of surgery. Now, on the flip side of that, this actually turns into a positive, I believe, from here on out, because you're going to cut Byron Jones in the offseason. You can't cut both, but X probably knows that he will be cut for 2024. So he will be super motivated, Poop, to get healthy and have a great year to try to convince the Dolphins, no, keep me another year. Or when the Dolphins release him, he puts a good year out there that another team will then, give him a chance. So I think you're going to get a motivated X next year because he really will not know what his future holds in 2024.
Correct. But it's another case where you have to hold your breath that he doesn't get hurt because he's got problematic knees. And then another key guy is Bradley Chubb, who's also got a history of injuries. This is why if they hit a lot of luck next year with injuries, I think they're in much better position they were after they made the playoffs in 2008 or in 2016.
I agree.
I don't want to necessarily take it to the bank and say it's a lock that they're going to contend. We won't know that, obviously, until next year.
I'm with you there. All right. What's the priority in free agency, whatever? If you had to pick 2 positions that the Miami Dolphins must fill going into 2023, what does Alain Poupart from Sports Illustrated say?
Middle
linebacker?
I was going to get there. I was starting with the offense. I'm going to give you, I'd say, like a tight end.
Shit, dude. The one he wants? Okay.
Well, you're not getting George Kittle, but I mean,
who's in the draft? Who's in the draft that you like that can block and pass catch? I haven't gotten deep in there yet.
I saw Irv Smith Jr. being thrown out as a possibility from the Vikings.
Okay.
Especially now that they got Hawkinson and his role is kind of diminished. He might be interesting. Still an offensive lineman, maybe. Always.
A tackle or a guard?
Yes. Probably more tackle because those guys are more important. And on defense, you mentioned it, middle linebacker, and then can never have enough corners. Can never have enough corners.
Yeah. Yeah. But at least one of the things that makes me feel good if I'm a Dolphins fan out there, they know how to unearth corners. So at least I know that they can find one anywhere, bro. Street or late in the rounds or whatever. It doesn't have to be a high pick, like Holland and Brandon Jones and X and Fitz. Obviously, guys that they picked early and they hit on all those guys. Iggy, they didn't. But that's the good thing about that one position. They have a tendency of being able to find them all over the place, even on the street. So that gives me some hope. But, man, they need a thumper in the middle, doggy. They need a guy that can run, because you need a guy that can really spy on these running quarterbacks, because the running backs didn't kill the Dolphins this year, but the running quarterbacks absolutely assassinated them.
They did. Although it was really disappointing that the season, not that they were going to do anything, because the best case scenario after the fourth down was that they'd get the ball back with 30 seconds left, no timeouts. But the fact that it was, a running play that they had been so good at stopping the whole year, where Singletary dragged 4 guys for the clinching first down. I was really disappointing.
Yeah, I was. No, I'm with you there. Hey, by the way, I'll leave you with this. What'd you think of my boy Justin Herbert there over the weekend? And by the way, on the flip side, what'd you think of Trevor Lawrence, who put himself into the abyss and climbed the hell out of it, because I never thought that offense could climb out of a 27-point hole. But
they're both
talk to me.
They're both complete studs who are going to be problems in the AFC, along with Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes for a while. And if you are going to just go on the surface and look at the Chargers scoring 3 points in the second half, knock yourself out. If you actually watched the game and saw no Mike Williams, the left tackle went out. Now they were down to their third left tackle. The running game, 7 carries, 7 yards in the second half. Field goal kicker misses a field goal. They call a jet sweep on third and less than a yard late in the first quarter when they're up 27-0. Wind up having to punt instead of getting the first down, which would have killed the clock. Gives Jacksonville an easy 7 points. Joey Bosa acts like a 5-year-old. This is after not knowing where he's lined up. Where at 27-7, they get a sack on third down.
Plus, they gave him 3 points in the half. They weren't even supposed to be leading anyway. When he's crying like a little bitch, because in the first half they gave you 3 points by the referee screwing up a call where the quarterback mugged him, and Samuel mugged the guy, and that interception led to a field goal. That was a gift.
You're talking about the fourth down pick? I've seen worse defense DPIs not get called. And then he cost him the game by throwing his helmet, where Doug Peterson was going to kick the extra point, like, oh, I'm at the 1 yard line. I'll just go for 2 and have Lawrence jump over the top. So having said all that, Herbert didn't play a great game. If you're going to pin that loss on him, oof.
No, I'm not pinning the loss on him, but it just, you could have done more, kid. You didn't do anything. 1 touchdown.
Other than
all
missing
that talent out there. You
go.
can only get Keenan Allen the ball 6 times for 61 yards. Come on, you're the second. How about running the ball?
Did you want 7 carries, 7 yards for the Chargers in the second half?
I'm talking about Herbert. Run, bro.
He had a scramble for a first down. He had a big scramble for a first down.
I know. Just he had to do more of that. He needed it. He needed to manufacture like Josh Allen did yesterday. He said, I'm Mack trucking your ass down there. He needs to play a little bit more like Josh Allen and like Trevor Lawrence.
I don't think he was great. I think he was operating under extraordinarily difficult circumstances.
Pobrecito.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm sure you'd be saying that if it was true.
I know. Tua must have been under the best circumstances the last 2 years.
And you did nothing but make excuses for him. So why don't you make excuses for him?
I was just stating the facts that he didn't have anything around him. This guy at least still had a number 1 wide receiver there with him.
Who?
Come on, do something.
Who is the number 1? His number 1 wide receiver is Mike Williams, who the head coach.
No, it's not. It's Keenan Allen.
You're crazy.
Keenan Allen.
Dude, you run faster than Keenan Allen, who's a very good receiver with great hands and runs great routes, but he is older and he is slow. And they also had
very injury prone too. Very injury prone also.
And their offensive line's a joke, and they were down to their third left tackle. The dude didn't have a shot. Come on.
Yeah, Dolphins have played 7 tackles. Almost won with a 7th rounder on the road, giving up a 27-point lead.
They have a better coach. They have a better coach than the Chargers.
All I know is that Tua would never give up a 27-point lead and 5 defensive turnovers.
That's
never.
Funny. That's funny. Oh, we'll have to find out the first time the Dolphins are up 27-0.
And 5 defensive turnovers.
And 5 defensive turnovers. Okay.
God, I thought they would add at least 14, 20 points in the second half. I said, there's no way they win. That's it. They've given this damn game away one way or the other.
The Chargers are going to charge her. That's what they do. That's what
they're going to keep him too. They're actually keeping Brandon Staley. That's what the reports are.
But somebody made a great point that they're going to keep him because the Spanos family is cheap and they're not going to pay Sean Payton.
Oh no, that's actually 1,000% accurate. Yeah. That's why they are what they are. Yeah, the Spanos family is a terrible ownership group. Yeah, that's been rough. All right, what do you got going on? What do you got going on?
Not a coincidence that team can never get out of its own way. It's not a coincidence.
No. Hey, dude, ownership is everything, bro. Rarely do you overcome bad. It's happened. Obviously, it's rare. But when you have bad ownership, usually your team never gets over the hump. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
That's a handicap. So today's all about locker cleanout day on alldolphins.com. So
there you go. Lots of pictures of players celebrating champagne. We don't have to talk to Poupart. So check it out there at Sports.
Giving me the finger. A couple give me the finger too.
Couple. There you go. At least they're consistent. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL and catch his stuff right here twice a week, baby, with the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. And by the way, EJD stepping up. They are also going to be our sponsors in our Senior Bowl trip. So there you go. Thank you, Poupart. Appreciate you. EJDconstruction.com.